Hello everybody, this is Marcel from Oregon, and I've got another topic for you. Today we're going to talk about Stand Your Ground. As you well know, Stand Your Ground was made famous by the death of Trayvon Martin at the hands of George Zimmerman in Florida. Stand Your Ground, I honestly believe, is a good concept. If you or one of your loved ones is in danger, and you really shouldn't have to retreat if you don't want to. Where I have the problem is that I honestly believe with the way it's being applied and interpreted, you can truly become a serial killer. And I mean, think about it. And I'll read you some of the cases, not all the ones that I wrote down, but I'll read you some of them. I mean, think about it. If I bumped into someone, let's say I bumped into Brock Lesnar. Most of you guys know who he is. Bump into him. Brock Lesnar says, "Say excuse me." I'm not going to say excuse me, for whatever reason. And then I push Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar rushes at me, grabs me. I pull out my gun and shoot him dead. Well, I did have reasonable fear for my life. And under Florida's, stand your ground, I'm okay with killing Brock Lesnar. Even though I started it. And there's been incident after incident of that, where people have started confrontations, knowing they were going to escalate, killed the other person, and got off because of stand your ground. Here's an example, and I'm going to read. And I'm not going to focus on race. That's not the point of this. It's the law itself that's the problem. Black, white, Asian, Indian, Samoan, doesn't matter. Race is not a part of this discussion. Okay? 19-year-old Christopher Coate was gunned down by his neighbor after a dispute of walking his dog on his new neighbor's property. Coate came back to talk. According to people that knew him, he was unarmed. The man, 62-year-old Jose, answered his door with a shotgun, stepped outside onto his lawn, and shot him 2 times, killing him. He tried to stand your ground defense the first time and was denied, rightfully so. But in a new trial, he was acquitted. Now, he said that he was scared of the teen when he answered the door. Then why did you go outside and not call 911? He claims the teen tried to come into his house and fired the first shot. 10-15 seconds passed before he fired the second shot, the killing shot, according to witnesses. Why? The kid was no longer a threat after the first shot. So, you have a dispute. Guy comes to your house to talk to you about it. If you're scared, don't open your door. Call the cops. Let them deal with it. The minute he opened his door with his shotgun, he's ready for trouble. And if the witnesses are to be believed, he was unarmed. Okay, fine. Now let's assume that the kid did try to get into the house. First shot, perfectly legal. That's fine. But then while he's on the ground, you stand over him and shoot him again? Where was the imminent threat at that point? There was none. There was another one. Adrian Carey heard a noise coming from outside of his window. He went outside, saw the potential intruder leaving the scene. He told the man, whose name was Marcus Santiago, to stop. Mr. Santiago didn't. Still running away from him, Mr. Carey said he fired a warning shot, not realizing he hit and killed Mr. Santiago. Now, he was found not guilty based on stand your ground. My question is, when did it become okay to shoot someone as they're leaving? Where was the imminent threat at that point? Where was the threat? The guy was running away. I don't care if he accidentally shot him or not. Guy was gone. Threat was over. And in a civilized society, when the threat is over, you don't get to chase them down and kill them. You just don't. Now, I have, and for full disclosure, I have to say that they found evidence that Mr. Santiago was trying to break into the man's home. But I always thought and was always taught that you don't use the ultimate force when the danger or the threat is gone. But it is what it is. Now, there was another guy. This is when the law didn't work. His name was Willard J. McCullen. Shot his cousin over $60. He shot his cousin, Devin Levy, in the back, then in the chest when he turned around. And Mr. McCullen told the police that he was an NRA member and knew he had the right to shoot. He got 35 years for murder. So that's one time that his stand your ground. And I don't understand how he thought he had the right to shoot. It was over $60. The guy had his back to him, so he shot him anyway. He had his back to him. Really? There's incident after incident after incident here. Let me see if I can find one that would really sum it up for you. Let's see. Here's one. Now, this one, a guy named Jackson, shot and killed a guy named Lucas, claiming that Lucas had showed up to his apartment with a gun. However, Jackson, who had been arrested for battery, aggravated assault, and drug possession, was in a known drug beef with the man he shot and killed, according to the witnesses. It was over drugs. Judge set him free. I don't understand any of this. Here are some facts. After reviewing over 100 fatal stand your ground cases, nearly 60% of those who claimed self-defense had been arrested at least once before the day they killed someone. More than 30 of those defendants, about 1 in 3, have been accused of violent crimes, including assault, battery, and robbery. Dozens had drug offenses on their records. Killers have invoked stand your ground even after repeated run-ins with the law. 40% had 3 arrests or more. Dozens had at least 4 arrests. More than a third of the defendants had previously been in trouble for threatening someone with a gun or illegally carrying a weapon. In dozens of cases, both defendant and the victim had criminal records, sometimes related to long-running feuds or criminal enterprises of the victims that could be identified in state records. 64% had at least 1 arrest. Several had 20 or more arrests. I don't understand this. I don't understand why we're going backwards as a civilization, why we're going backwards as a society, where even the slightest provocation should end in death. And there was one I didn't write down that started me thinking about this. There was a guy, and I don't remember the names, who was apparently known in the neighborhood for being able to handle himself, to be able to fight with his fists. There was another guy who just didn't like him. And so he went out in front of this guy's house, called him out, called him every name in the book, insulted him, talked about his mama, whatever. Guy comes out, unarmed. Everybody's, all the witnesses, unarmed. The guy who instigated it had a gun. Guy comes out, says, "What's the problem?" Gets a little too close. Guy shoots him dead. Guy says, "Stand your ground," and the judge agreed because the guy had a known history for being able to handle himself. So the guy who shot and killed him walked home. And no one sees a problem with stand your ground? Really? No one sees a problem with that. That I can go into Safeway now, bump into somebody, cause them to get angry, cause them to swing at me, say I feared for my life, gun them down, check, check, I go home, stand your ground. Week later, see a guy the store don't like, well, let's go on in and do this again. Do the same scenario, gun him down, check, check, that's 2. I could go on and on like this. according to Stand Your Ground, doesn't matter if you started it. All that matters is that you feared for your life. You said, I feared for my life. Oh, well, if you feared for your life, then you can go home. It's absolutely ridiculous. There were a couple other ones that I was going to read, but I'm not. I get too emotional and too upset over this because I just think that it cheapens human life. And it makes available right now to everyone that no matter what situation you put yourself in, you can just kill somebody. They don't put any limitations on it. This law needs to be repealed or changed or have very, very specific wording stating that you cannot start a fight in order to kill someone. This law needs to be changed. And that's how I see it.